Hello everybody, this is Trina. I'm kind of right in the middle of a project, but I thought I would kind of share with you guys what I'm doing and then maybe kind of just finish it via voiceover the rest of the way. So I've gone ahead and used these punches. They are McGill punches. We've got flowers, petite petals, and flowers, baby blooms, and I have no idea where you get these. As you could tell, it's yellowed, which means it's pretty old. I bought these from my aunt, and I still love them. I haven't used them in a long time, but you can create, I should say, little flowers, little paper flowers. So, as you can hear, all the noise in the background is my silhouette going. I've gone ahead and I'm cutting out bigger flowers. So I also have, what were they? Oh, they were thin, like the thin wafer dies, and I cut these out. These three styles of flowers out, and just layered them together. And I used some vintage photo distress ink for that. But yeah, you can kind of see what they originally were here. And then once you add the distress ink and you curve them with I always just use the back corner of this here, but they have like flower making tools that you can actually have the ball on them, and they work pretty good. So I've gone ahead and made all of these. You can see they're kind of wobbly because, you know, it's wire and all, but I don't know if it's getting a good picture of those. You just squish them, ink them, squish them, glue them, stack them, glue them. Pretty much is what you do. So I've done them in a couple of the different colors, a couple of different combinations. I love this one, it's so pretty. If I can get it to turn for you guys. But yes, they look like little roses. I love it. So yeah, I'm going to also be using the Welcome Home Wreath Kit, which they don't have this anymore. They don't offer this anymore. But I never got around to using it, and I was just like, okay, so I want to make my mom a wreath for her door, and you know, I didn't want to. I was like, okay, well, maybe I just have to cut myself out a wreath, you know, out of really, what is that called? I can't remember what it's called. It's like the thick. I can't remember what it's called. The sheets that come in like some paper packs, like the backs, I want to say particle board, but it's not particle board. It's totally like not in my mind right now. Anyways, so I decided, you know what? I remember having a wreath kit. I want a wreath of some sort that Close to My Heart offered, and I was like, wait a minute, let me check. And I looked, and I labeled my bins. Can you believe it? So, anyways, I labeled my bins, and one of them was Welcome Home Wreath Kit. So I was like, sweet. Why would I want to label that or put that label on the bin? Because it's the whole kit's in there. So, well, almost the whole kit. Evidently, I did use a couple of pieces from here. You can kind of see, like this one, I took a rose out, and there's a couple of these, like these. I popped these out, and this one is here, evidently. But I am actually going to use some of these as well, some of these darker colors, and the evergreen, or the New England ivy, and I think this is like an evergreen color. This is probably one of our newest colors here. Even though this is an older kit, I'm pretty sure that's what evergreen looks like. So I do have some of these, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink them up with my blending tool, and I'm just going to do that with my New England ivy ink pad, and then that will bring them to, you know, the same color here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to just put it all together. I don't know that there's really anything else. These are a lot of succulents, so I don't really want succulents on here, but I do have dyes for any other greenery that I might need. There's also gold in here somewhere that I might be using here. So, some greens or gold sprigs that I might use. I might use the letters that came in the kit as well. I don't know, which obviously I haven't used those. So, I mean, it's kind of up in the air as to where I'm going to go with this, so that's why I figured I would just hop on here, let you guys know what I was doing. If you guys are interested in how I make, these flowers, I can let me know that if you would like, you know, kind of like a step-by-step tutorial, and I can definitely do that for you guys. So, oh look, we have some more of the dark green. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, so that was a very big intro. So yeah, I'm just popping out the center of the wreath, and I was thinking that center would be perfect for my like videoing, not videoing sign for my door. So that is going to be a project that will be coming up. I'm not sure exactly when, because January is over halfway gone, or not. Well, I don't know by the time I get this up. It's almost halfway gone. My daughter's birthday is kind of the halfway point through January, so we're almost there, almost there. Hopefully I can get this up before then, but I'll tell you what, this puppy thing and life in general is kind of crazy right now. So thank you guys for bearing with me. If you guys are subscribers that are just, you know, sticking with me, I really, truly appreciate it. If you're customers and you're still sticking with me, thank you. Actually, you know, it's not really that hard to be my customer, because, you know, when you order online, it just automatically kind of just, you know, goes sent right to you. I don't really have to do a whole lot. So just send out thank yous for your orders, and because I really am thankful, and send gifts every once in a while, and, you know, make sure I order those catalogs for you guys. So it's really not too difficult to be a consultant. So yeah, if you're looking for a fun job, no, I'm just kidding. Well, you can if you want to, but yeah, there's no push for that, unless you want to, of course. If you want to, then, you know, I'd love to have you on my team. I don't even have a team yet. It's just me, just solo me, but that's okay. I'm happy being me. So yeah, I went ahead and cut these out on my silhouette. These are just a basic flower that I got when, like, when you first purchase the silhouette, you get a little collection of cut files that you can use, and this was one of those cut files. In my previous video, which was a birthday box, that was one of the cut files that was in there as well. And so this is just kind of, you know, using what I have. If I had the Close to My Heart a Cricut and the Close to My Heart whatever it's called, cartridges, oh my goodness, I would be so happy. But yeah, that's not in the plans anytime soon. So I'm just going to go ahead and use these, and these worked great. I am definitely going with a vintage style, so I decided to use my Tim Holtz Distress ink in Vintage Photo. It is one of my favorite. I think I have Black Soot and I have Vintage Photo, and those are the only two that I have. I know, shocking, right? But I do have a lot of Close to My Heart inks. I don't actually have all the new ones, so that is a really big surprise for me. They just came out with so many new things this last July or August, whichever one it was, with the new year, and I don't know, I'm still getting stuff that I want, and then they come out with new great stuff in their catalogs, and it's just like, how am I supposed to get all of this stuff? So I just have to kind of pick and choose, and so far those have not been on my radar, so too many good things. So yeah, I'm just using this foam pad. This pad was actually for the stitched, or the whole, what is that called? It's a stitching ruler, and I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's got holes all over in the plastic, and it's got different borders and things like that. I cannot remember what it's called, but I love the thing. Like, I really do love it. Anyways, so I'm eventually got this pad, and I can use it to round and kind of cup the petals of the flowers. And look at that. I'm trying to see. I was trying to show you guys the difference between the plain flower and the distressed flower. And in real life, you can see a difference. You could barely see a difference on camera. And so I was trying to change the color of my lighting or the tone of my lighting just to see if that showed it at all. But it didn't really. I mean, it didn't really do much. Um, So I was going to use the wires. I adhered wires to the backs of all of these large or medium-sized flowers, and then I decided I don't need those, so then I went and clipped them all off. You can definitely heat them up. Like since I use hot glue, I could have heated them up and um, put them, took them off that way, which would have worked too. But I just decided to clip it. Um, Now this wreath is not really all that large, which is great because my mom lives in an RV, so we don't need a huge wreath for her, or she doesn't need a huge wreath. Harder to keep on the door too. So I wanted to, she's always saying how much she loves my flowers, my paper flowers, so I decided, what, I'll do a paper flower gift for her. So I did get her a couple other things for Christmas, but this was my first project for her. So, well, it was my first project, and then I did a birthday project in between, and then I did this one, finished up this one for Christmas. So, yeah, I kind of give you a sneak peek um, in the last video. So I've kind of laid everything out the way that I want it to be, or, kind of close to where I want it to be. Obviously, things move around and I change my mind because, that's being a crafter, right? So I'm pulling things like kind of the things that I had discussed in my intro, how I wanted to pull from this kit, but I don't really want the succulent. So I just kind of stuck with the non-succulent pieces. So. And as I go, I move these flowers around. So I created a whole bunch of flowers. The same way I did the big flowers, I did the little flowers. And then I kind of jimmy rigged and I took my green floral wire, which I borrowed from my daughter, and I actually made these little sprigs, and then I glued the flowers onto those sprigs. So they are wires, so I can actually move them around and bend them to whichever direction I want. So if I want them to curve to the left, I can, or to curve to the right, I can do that too. Which is great for when you're trying to make things, fit in the places that you want them to fit. So I do fiddle with this for a little bit, and then I believe I adhere all of this off camera so that you don't have to watch exactly what I do. And it does turn out just a little bit different than what I have here. But I actually, I really like how it turned out. So that is, just kind of one of those things that happens. When you pull them off to put them back on, they kind of move, and you have to add things in to make things fit. I had to use a couple of my scrap pieces of paper to stick some of these flowers down because they had to be like this one here, the top orange one. I think it's a gold rush color. It is very far away from the frame, so I had to actually adhere one, and I think it was near there. I actually had to adhere two. I had to adhere the paper to the frame and have it sticking out past the frame by like an inch, and then I could adhere the flower to that piece of paper. And you don't even notice that the paper's there. You just know that the flower's floating out in the middle of nowhere. So, but it's it adds to the cluster, so it actually really goes. So you don't even really know that it's not actually on the frame. But so yeah, I'm going through and inking the edges of my leaves and kind of trying to figure out where they are, and you know, inking these was a little harder than I thought it would be. But I got it done. I got it done. So I go through and I trim everything off, and then it totally changes as I go. Like as I actually start adhering things down, it changes. So it's it's going to be interesting to see what I have here compared to what I ended up with. It's going to be similar, but not the same. So I'm trying to curl the backs and then give the definition of the leaves there. And I don't do a whole lot of veining for the leaves. I just do a single vein down the center, just kind of in the natural curve of the leaf. And it works. Here I'm trying to make sure all of the little spots are empty and see if I can actually make this, the shape that I want it to be. And I don't usually cut the ends off until I know that I don't need them. Like I know that I don't need to use that part to adhere it down. So this is a great way to use your scraps too after you've cut it in half. You can always trim and just kind of make the leaf shape and then use that as your, as another sprig somewhere. It doesn't have to end with just one leaf either. So I'm kind of deciding what I like the floral part, but in the wreath part, but it feels like it's empty, like it needs something else, and I'm not sure what that is, but it needs something. Evidently, I keep the adhesion down here in the video, unless I shorten it. I don't know. I don't know what I did, but yeah, you can see it's already starting to morph into something different. So and I have to deal with all of these things and pull them out and find new spots for them and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely an interesting process how this works, how it just changes, like, it just changes. Naturally changes. And see how that works. There's that little piece of scrap paper. It's a great way to use your scrap paper too, because with the little scraps that you cut your flowers out of, it works pretty well. Very little waste that way. And I'm trying to make sure I get these in here. And I am totally in my pajamas, and for those of you who don't know, we just recently got a puppy. We've had her for about a month now, and she is almost 3 months. So she is a handful. She is literally like a 2-year-old terrible twos toddler. I didn't really have a terrible twos toddler. Like all my kids were really, really good. So this is like, I get very little sleep because she has to potty every 3 or 4 hours. So, and then of course once she goes potty, then she's hungry and thirsty, and then she has a whole bunch of energy. So, yeah, it was very tiresome. So I was very lucky to actually get this get this done on time. So yeah, I'm probably in my, I may not even be in my pajamas. I may just be in my robe to be warm, because I'll tell you what, walking the dog in the freezing cold in the early morning sucks. We do now have a fence, however, in the backyard. So she's got a little that's like 80 feet by 30 feet area to run, where I could just let her out in the mornings, and she's actually started going to the bathroom out there, which is awesome because I could just let her out there. But back when I was doing this wreath, it was not that way. It was, you take her out to walk, encourage her to pee for like a half hour, and then come back in. It was It was a lot different, and I love that it morphed into something where I get more sleep. I am so very thankful. She's a quick learner. She's a mini Australian Shepherd, so she is very, or not mini. She's not a mini Australian. She's mini right now, but she's not going to be. um, but anyways, she's an Australian Shepherd, and she is very smart. So she's picking up on it quick. But of course, there's always those times where you have accidents and stuff like that, and then kids miss the bus, and you have to take the dog, and you have to make sure she has water and food, and then it's just like all kinds of crazy stuff, all kinds of crazy stuff for sure. So yeah, as you could see, I'm still adding stuff in here, trying not to burn myself because I did burn myself on, I can't remember if it was making the flowers or if it was, I don't remember, if it was making a little box for my mom, one of them. But if I don't have a band-aid on my hand yet, then it hasn't happened yet. I burnt my finger really bad. I mean, it wasn't like a large burn, it was only about an inch long. Um, eh, inch, maybe about 3/4 of an inch. It wasn't quite an inch. But it was, how how you get blisters and they like when you shovel for a while. I don't know if you know that, but if you do, you get those bubble blisters. Well, it kind of automatically bubble blistered like that, and you could see all the melted fat underneath the skin. It was all bubbly and everything, and it was just, I don't know, it was painful. It was painful. I think halfway through this is probably when I end up with the green ice thing, yellow ice thing on my desk because it was so cold. So, or it was so hot, and I needed to cool it down. So I just needed to keep the temperature cool. I don't like being cold, so that in itself was kind of a thing. But I got over it real quick, I'll tell you that much. I did. I got over the cold. The cold, it hurt way more when I took it off the ice than it did when it was, you know, on the ice. So I definitely got over the cold part. If you hear my dog, my puppers barking, it's just the way it is. So this is chipboard, and it's like, I used back in the day, the Dollar Tree used to sell scrapbooking paper. I don't know if they do where you live. They don't where I live anymore, but they used to sell packs that had like 6 pieces in it or something, and they were actually decent papers. And so I would always grab the chipboard out of the back and use it for projects. So I, kind of utilized all of it, although I did hoard the papers, so I don't know if that worked. I didn't really use the papers, but I used the chipboard. Um, but I went ahead and designed this little plaque, like just a piece of wood kind of look is what I was going for. Something if you were to break off a piece of, like a old barn wood or something like that and make a plaque or a sign out of it, that's kind of what I was going for. That kind of look, and I just cut it out on my silhouette, and then I made this banner. I measured the wreath to see how far across it was, and then I just kind of made a banner that kind of fit that. And I'm going to go ahead and distress both of them, and I'm also making this banner have a center. So yeah, there that is. And my recording paused, so I'm going to pause it real quick. Alright, so I went ahead and put two kinds of adhesive on here. I did my ATG, and I'm also doing my liquid glass, if I can actually manage to get it on there. So this paper here is actually from an older paper pack. Ooh, I don't remember. I want to say it's home style something. Home style something? I don't know if I can even find it. I don't remember what it's called. I really don't remember what it's called, but it's an old one, and I don't think you can get it anymore either. But I do hope they bring back some neutral wood grain papers, even if it's not neutral. That would be pretty awesome. So I really did want the paper the other direction, but I didn't have any large pieces of paper to recut that, so I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna deal with it. And I can't remember if this was before or after I messed up the banner, because I did have to end up recutting the banner, and I think I show you guys that on the video. I end up I used my crocodile to poke the holes, but it wasn't really working for the um, eyelets, and I'm not sure what's going on. It's always been, it's supposed to always uh, do the eyelets, but I think it did like half of one out of all of them. And of course, I keep trying it, and I was just like, wait a minute, what is going on? So I try the different settings, and it still just doesn't want to work. So it works great for holes. I will definitely keep that around for holes. I can punch holes in almost anything with that thing, as long as it fits in between the uh, I want to say jaws, but the top and bottom plate. It will definitely cut it. So it will definitely poke you a hole. So that is something that's awesome, because I use a lot of I use it for a lot of different things. My husband's even used it, so that's pretty awesome. Um, but yeah, I think I'm trying to like stand up and actually like push on it and trying to get it to work, and it's just not. I just can't seem to get it to work. So eventually I get tired of that, and I pull out I go grab my hammer, I believe. I grabbed my hammer. I used to have a small hammer, and I don't know what happened to it. I must have donated it or something, or maybe gave it to my daughter. I might have to check that. But and there's this thing called an anywhere um, eyelet punch, and I think it was from Making Memories. But you can punch a hole. It has like a hole. You'll see it coming up. It's a manual. I don't know how to explain it. It's like just like a stick of metal, and it has the hole punch at the end of it, and you just whack it, put it where you want it, whack it. And it comes with different size tips too, so that you can take the tips off and put them back on, and so that you have the right size hole for your grommet or your eyelet. And so this is where I dig through some of my stash, and I get some chain that is going to hold this. Sorry, I have an itch on my eye. Didn't mean to bump the mic. Hang the little sign off the banner. So thankfully I had something in the right colors or similar colors as the eyelets, and those all kind of, it was like a vintagey brass color, which worked just great. So I went ahead and borrowed my daughter's jewelry making clippers and stuff, and I went ahead and opened up my, certain chunks of wire, and eventually I rip the banner, the top banner, and then I realized, okay, well, I guess I gotta redo that. So I think I get my heat tool out. These are some little rings, and I find out that I need let's see, is it 4 of them? I do need 4 of them. So I'm not really sure exactly uh, what to talk about here, because it's kind of involving. I guess that's the word. So I do get this all prepped, and yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but and here we go. Connect it to this first, which means that half the job is already done. So, but I love that these rings, I had these rings, these were another one that's the same color as the wire, or the chain and the eyelets, so that was kind of handy dandy to have all those already. I think I made a bracelet out of that before, or they were on sale or something. I don't remember what they were or what was going on, but I was trying to be really careful here, and it just, I don't know, it just wasn't meant to be, I guess. Oh, what am I gonna do? It was just one of those moments where I was just like, are you serious? So yeah, I tore that one, and so I had to remake it, re-ink it, and re-distress it, and then I decided I'm just gonna go ahead and heat this up with my heat gun and pull it off with my scraper, and it worked out pretty good. I mean, of course, there was still some stuff there, but I was covering it anyways. I just needed a new piece, so. And so I wanted to make sure I, put those up high enough so that they weren't going to break again. So, but I didn't want them too high either, or too far apart, because I wanted to make sure that it looked, aesthetically pleasing, and also I wanted to make sure that those rings could actually close and hang free. I think this is when I pull out, yep, I pull out my thing here. I've always got it in my drawer. And so I figured, you know what, might as well show you guys how this works. But this is awesome. It not only does it come with the hole punch, but it also comes with a one of those punches that it doesn't punch. It just like spreads the back of the eyelet open and flattens it down the more you pound it. So that was kind of awesome. I was so thankful to have that still. And it's one of those things that I've had since I first started scrapbooking. Like right after I started scrapbooking, I managed to, I think I got that, I don't remember if I got it brand new or if I got it used, but I'm pretty sure I got it on eBay, because back then eBay was the way to go. I haven't purchased from eBay in quite a long time, actually. But yeah, Amazon is kind of my go-to for online shopping. Amazon and Walmart. I know, but when you've got a lot of kids and one income coming in, because mine doesn't kind of doesn't really count when I'm only able to cover my crafting, which is not very much. I don't get a whole lot. I kind of count on my freebie stuff more than the money, but my husband's the main breadwinner, which that's how it's always been. I do a lot of work on the house. I don't just do your basic chores kind of stuff like some do. I actually like dig stumps out, and I help with building fences, and I'm kind of a all around, do lots of different kinds of hard work as well as housework kind of wife. So stay at home mom. Be able to go get sick kids when I need to, or take them to the doctors anytime I need to. It's just, yeah. And now take care of their dog. They all wanted a dog. I didn't want a dog, but they all wanted a dog, and I knew that I was going to be spending the time with her, and so she's pretty much my dog. She listens to me above everybody else, so I can ask her. I don't actually spank her, but I can ask her, and because that's one of the things that I always, ask my kids, do you want spanking? And they'd stop, and she does the same thing. Even though I don't spank her, I still have that tone of voice, and it's just like a warning, and she just knows it. So she'll stop, and she'll sit down, and she'll look at me like, I'm going to be in trouble if I keep doing this. It's so funny. But, anyway, so yeah, we tried the distraction way to go. The growl, the stern voice, treats, and distraction are all kind of our repertoire. Um, but okay, so a lot has gone on here, and it's getting close to the end. So I went ahead and used the gold foil words that came with the kit, the Wreath kit, and just did welcome home. And then I actually pulled out some of my old, I don't know what they're called now that I think about it. I don't know if oh, here they are. Oh, there's no name on it. So I have no idea what they're called, but they're like a shimmery gem kind of thing. But I think they were, they were clear back in the 90s, I want to say. Maybe it was 2000s. It may have been the early 2000s. But yeah. So I loved that I was able to use those. I also used some flatback pearls that I have, and then I went ahead and used some of these rhinestones that one of our older neighbors, not older, she used to be our neighbor, hence the older, not, she's my same age or almost my same age. So thank you, Amy, if you're watching this. Really appreciate these. They're gorgeous. They are so gorgeous. She got a very large amount of them, and she's like, there's no way I could ever use this in a lifetime. So here, can you want some? I was like, sure, they're gorgeous. And I haven't been able to use them. I did use them on my mom's box, which kind of, has these same tones, these same flowers and colors and stuff like that. So I am really excited to be able to use these. So, but yeah, this is pretty much what it's going to look like. I can't really show you what it looks like hanging up because we haven't had it hanging up yet. And I don't have a place to hang it at the moment. She's afraid to put it out in the wintertime because she doesn't want it to get wet, and I understand that. So it's probably going to come out in the early summer when it's dry. But yeah, you can kind of see that well, sort of see. That's a very close up. But I'm hoping that you guys can see that. Yeah, all the sparkle and pretty. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe. Love to have you. Thanks for watching.